Here are 5 running backs who are mispriced in 2025 fantasy football drafts. Starting out, Tyreek Hill going now around wide receiver 14, wide receiver 15. Why would we bet against a mega star like Tyreek Hill? I know his numbers last year were terrible, 959 yards, 6 touchdowns. That was the worst of his rookie year, but we know he had a serious wrist injury, so we're writing the season off because of that. However, does a wrist injury explain a 38th percentile yards after the catch? To me, it does not. This is a player who was always Tyreek Hill in the 90th plus percentile in yards after the catch. That big slip in yards after the catch. First, defenses approach the Dolphins differently. I'll get to that in a minute. Second of all, Hill may have just lost the tiniest of steps, which took away that massive edge he had over every other human being on the planet. Could be a little age decline there. Now, again, we said the wrist injury, and we'll give him a break for that. But again, the yards after contact, not giving him a pass there. And he only missed 1 game in the last 4 years, but we have seen Tyreek Hill all over the injury report the last few years, and this is starting to catch up with him. Aging happens, injuries happen. Eventually, those injuries are going to pile up more. But the bigger issue here is Tua Tagovailoa. He is a limited quarterback, struggles to drive the ball to the perimeter, struggles to throw deep. He underthrows a lot of passes, and Tyreek Hill was not able to come back. Remember in past years, the quarterback would throw the ball short 2-3 yards. Hill would come back, jump over a couple defenders, grab the ball, and just start running. Well, last year he wasn't able to do that, and that's where I think he may have lost a nano step. Defenses also crowd the short area of the field on Tagovailoa, and they try to force him to throw where he doesn't like. This all doesn't work. The bigger issue at the end of this is Tyreek Hill has publicly said on multiple occasions he is not happy in Miami. Not happy, tiny bit of decline, rough quarterback play that can't optimize him. I cannot see buying Tyreek Hill at cost. Next, DJ Moore, Chicago Bears, going around wide receiver 20 in drafts. This one I cannot understand for the life of me. Last year was a disaster season for DJ Moore. The Bears' offensive line couldn't block. Defenders were in the backfield with Caleb Williams at the snap of the ball. Defenses played way up in the box area. They weren't worried about going deep because Williams had no time to throw. DJ Moore still comes out of this as the wide receiver 14 in PPR leagues. 98 catches, 966 yards. He was still 85th percentile after the catch, but again, the situation that was around him was horrific. Now, in his 2 years with the Bears, DJ Moore has at least 136 targets in each. Go back through DJ Moore's career. Carolina years, terrible quarterback play. Chicago, Justin Fields, and now Caleb Williams last year in a bad situation. Yet DJ Moore gets almost, except for last year, almost 1,100 plus yards every single season. Again, last year he had the catches, not the yardage. Ben Johnson's in to run the offense. And we're hearing a lot of chattering about Ben Johnson and maybe some DJ Moore not getting the ball. Seriously, DJ Moore, if you watch NFL, you realize, not a fantasy thought, DJ Moore is a clear NFL superstar. He can win deep, he can win underneath, he can win after the catch. He's a running back with the ball in his hands. There is no way that Ben Johnson's going to say, yeah, we got the superstar player, but we're going to bury him. That's not going to happen. The offensive line in Chicago, fixed. Caleb Williams will no longer be under the siege he was under. This is going to work. At wide receiver 20, the floor for DJ Moore is last year, which is wide receiver 14. You have to buy DJ Moore. Next, Zay Flowers going at wide receiver 27. Now, his ADP has gone down a little bit, still not down far enough. Zay Flowers had 1,059 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. Impressive season. But here's the thing. The Ravens changed their offense and fixed it perfectly in the second half of the season. Remember, in the first half, they were kind of balanced. Second half, Lamar Jackson is shotgun. Derrick Henry standing right next to him. This team crushed opponents on the ground. Well, remember Zay Flowers in the first 9 games of the season, he had at least 18.5 PPR points in 5 of those 9 games. But from week 10 on, when the Ravens fixed their run game, Zay Flowers had 1 game with 12 PPR points. Now, 85th percentile after the catch, he's wonderful. But Zay Flowers is not getting enough targets. This is going to be Derrick Henry running and Lamar Jackson running, and then Jackson throwing when he can. But he doesn't just have Flowers. He has Mark Andrews, He has Rashad Bateman, a little Isaiah Likely. That's not enough to go around in this passing attack. So Zay Flowers, again, very good player. It's just not going to get the volume to succeed. All right, if you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second, hit like and subscribe. It helps us keep that fantasy advice rolling along for you. And if you want even more RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, we got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to rotowire.com, choose your subscription, and use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, Jameson Williams coming off that 1,000-yard season. You looked great last year. Wide receiver 28 off the board, but I have massive concerns. The concerns have to do with the Detroit Lions. Last year, my prediction was the Lions would come out and play defense. They would run the ball. And through week 7, that's what happened. The defense was very good. The running game was awesome. Jameson Williams in weeks 3 through 7, he was averaging 2.5 targets per game, averaging 8.9 PPR points. What happened then? The defense started losing players every week, it seemed. And then instead of 25 passes a game for Jared Goff, now we're looking 35-40. Now there was room for everybody to blow up, including Jameson Williams. The other issue, though, the whole interior offensive line's reshuffled. They have 2 mostly inexperienced players at guard. One's a rookie. Center, they're all-world center. I overstated that. Frank Ragnow, who's very good. He retired. Graham Glasgow is a downgrade. Jared Goff's going to be under pressure up the middle. What does that mean? They want to run deep patterns to Jameson Williams. There won't be much time. And when Goff's under pressure, good luck, because his accuracy goes way, way, way down. I know all quarterbacks are hurt by pressure. Goff more than most. So overall, this team's going to still play defense. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to hide their passing game. Amon-Ra St. Brown will be fine. But Jameson Williams, we saw in that sneak peek in weeks 3 through 7. That's the blueprint. You don't want to pay for that. All right, Calvin Ridley his ADP is actually going up. And it's wide receiver 32, but it's still not enough. You need to get Calvin Ridley. 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Now, it barely ticked the 1,000 yards, but that's fine. He did it. But here's the thing. From week 8 on with Tennessee last year, Calvin Ridley averaged 14.2 PPR points and 76 yards. That is what we want to see. But here's the thing. Will Levis, Mason Rudolph were his quarterbacks. I'm not saying that Cam Ward is going to be Superman, but Cam Ward is probably a significant upgrade. And there really is no credible wide receiver 2 in Tennessee. Calvin Ridley's going to be heavily targeted. He's going to pick up where he left off in the second half of last season, and he's going to finish close to the wide receiver 24, or right around there, and that makes him a massive value. All right, Chris Godwin's next. He's going outside the top 30 wide receivers, and yeah, I know he dislocated his ankle last year, but all reports seem that Godwin will be good to go when week 1 hits, and I believe that as well. Not coming back from an ACL here. It's a different injury. Godwin was on fire last year. In 6 of his 7 games, between 8 and 13 targets, at least 64 yards. His average in 7 games, 7 catches, 82 yards, and 9 targets. Incredible. Now, I know Liam Cohen's gone, and a lot of that offense at work may have been attributed to him. However, Baker Mayfield had a great connection with Godwin. Godwin saw more targets than Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield, going back to his days in Cleveland, when he had healthy seasons with Jarvis Landry, Jarvis Landry was averaging as a slot receiver about 990 yards. Now, Godwin will play a lot of slot. He'll play outside too, but you get the point that this chemistry Mayfield has, it's real, and he has done that over his career. And Godwin is going to be the recipient, and Godwin is exponentially better than Jarvis Landry ever was. Finally, Josh Downs. You get him outside the top 45 receivers. That might creep up a little bit, reach up a bit to get him. This young man's quarterback proof. Last year, 14 games, 803 yards. This is with bad quarterback play. So we see Josh Downs. He plays the third receiver role, but he still is on the field about 75% of the time. He's a 79th percentile yards after a catch guy. You can use him on screens. You can use him downfield. But again, regardless of quarterback, he just produces. Only 4 games did he go under 6.3 PPR points, but he is consistently in that double-digit range. And here's the thing. Downs may not be on the field all the time, but he was targeted 29.4% of his routes. That was a 3rd most in the league behind Puka Nacua and Malik Neighbors. Josh Downs is getting slept on. You're not going to do the same.